Welcome to the latest edition of Intermat's Conference Report, and today we are joined by our EIWA correspondent, Austin Sommer. Thanks for joining us, Austin.
Thanks for having me, man. Really excited.
And you're looking all official with the EIWA polo you got on. Yeah, there you go.
Yep. Yeah, got that from Coach Strobel. Gave that to me, while I was doing some announcing for the EIWAs up in Binghamton a few years ago. So great guy. Sad we lost him this year, but glad I got to meet him and work with him. It's a fun experience for sure.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that when we wrap up. So, just jumping into it, 2 days ago, we heard some information broke, kind of heard the rumblings about it for about a week or so, but we got Ryan Anderson to Binghamton, kind of an interesting one you didn't necessarily see coming, I don't think, but, talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was kind of surprising because we all know who Ryan Anderson was, Bethlehem Catholic standout, two-time state champ, #1 in the country at 145 his senior year. I think he was like 11th or 12th, overall recruit in that class, and just a freaking beast in high school, man, beating on everyone, two-time Beast finalist. He was a three-time Super 32 placer, third, second, and first at Ironman in his high school career too. So, he was really good in high school and kind of went the Division III route after he signed with Iowa State originally. He never made it to campus though. Spent 2 years at Centenary University, which is Division III, like I said before, in Hackettstown, New Jersey. We kind of stayed close to home there. In 2020, he was freshman of the year for Division III. He had no losses to anyone at the D3 level. It's kind of sad because there was no NCAA tournament due to COVID, so it would have been nice to see him, put the exclamation point at the end and kind of come home with the title. He also had 15 falls in his 30 wins there. So, like I said, he was just mopping dudes up on the mat, doing really well. I saw him compete at some of the opens I was at. I was doing a little bit of coaching here and there, and he was just beating all these D1 guys. Granted they weren't starters, but they were still D1 guys, and he was just, majoring on, teching them, pinning them right away. And it's like, yeah, Ryan Anderson, he's still pretty good. How is he at this D3 level? And here he is resurfaced at Binghamton. I think talking to Coach Middich up there, and I think the District 11 Lehigh Valley connection definitely helped him get up there. So I think it'll be a good fit for him. He's slated at 141. I think that's probably the weight he needs to be at to be, successful at this level. So I'm excited to see that. Like you said, it's brand new. Didn't really see it coming much. Yeah, so that he's going to be at Binghamton. I think that's good. They got a nice class going here.
Yeah, they really do. They've got some good incoming freshmen, some transfers, so they're going to be a team I'm sure we'll talk about more in the future.
Yeah,
some of the things we've talked about, through social media, just you and I and our group, head coaching changes within the EIWA. You had a couple along with some assistants, so talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, new coaches, it's not exactly new. It's kind of newer. Harry Colott at Navy, he had one season last year, but last year I kind of counted as half a season, so didn't really get get a full season from him there at Navy. We all know he was at Campbell before, kind of really put them on the map in the SoCon. Spent 4 years there, had 19 national qualifiers, which is just super impressive from, like you said, took Campbell from the bottom, kind of really rose him to the top of the SoCon, which is super impressive. 6 national qualifiers alone in 2019 at Campbell, and they were ranked as high as 12th in the standings. So like you said, good coach, really knows what he's doing. Won Coach of the Year 2019 for the SoCon, and he was a finalist for the NWCA Coach of the Year. So Navy definitely got a good one there. Multiple time world medalist. We've all seen the Flow documentary on him, I'm sure. He was Pennsylvania state legend. I looked up to him growing up. 137-0 in his high school career. LW all 4 years, which is, I don't think anyone's ever going to do that again. That's just simply incredible. I just think they were already on the rise, but with Coach Colott in there, I think they're just going to be, keep riding that wave, and they're going to be, top 3, top 4 in the conference in no time.
Yeah, all last year I'm seeing, Pennsylvania kids left and right committing to Navy. And then, there's kid from Virginia that I'm familiar with, Nick Vafiatis, a couple New Jersey kids. So, their recruiting just took a sharp turn on the upswing with his hiring.
Yeah, they just signed a stud out of Ohio. Forget the first, I think Jake Neffenegger, something like that is his name. And he's top 10 in the country, I think. So, they got another stud coming in. There's going to be more, coming along too. So good stuff out of Navy coming up soon.
All right. And then we have new head coach. Again, you said not super new information, but, we haven't talked about it. So Jason Borelli at American, after all of the fallout at Stanford, luckily they kept their program, but he kind of had to, do what he had to do, and moves on to American. So I think that's pretty promising.
Yeah, he's at American, good school for him, I think. Kind of fits not quite the Stanford-esque, standards you need to have to get in there, but it's still very quality school being in the EIWA. Just kind of a shame he got kind of booted from Stanford. They dropped the program. He left, signed with American, and Stanford's back now. And, I'm sure he'll be happy at American. It just kind of stinks, for him. But, 2021 tournament, Stanford was huge. 7 national qualifiers, 2 All-Americans, including, the one champ, Shane Griffith. We all know about him. Incredible story out of that. He had 13 seasons at Stanford. He had 15 All-Americans, 21 Pac-12 individual champs. Definitely making them a threat out west there. And is actually really good at recruiting. I don't think he gets enough credit for this. 12 of his 13 seasons, he had a top 25 recruiting class, including 2018. He had 7th overall class per Intermat. So those guys were finally getting to that level. We saw them, 7 national qualifiers at the last tournament there. So those guys are finally, where he wants to be. And it's a shame he had to leave here, but he's definitely going to restart that recruiting concept here at American. Definitely excited to see what he can do. Don't really have assistant coaches yet from what I've seen. So I think we're going to get, some more hires. He's going to bring in some of his guys there. Coaches love him across the country too. I've heard nothing but good things about him. So he's just an all around good guy, good for the sport. And I think American they got a good guy here. I really do.
Yeah. And that's probably about 50 minutes, an hour away from me. So that's a program that I try to follow closely. I'm anxious to get up there and see, what exactly he's doing with AU. And then, the big news that kind of captivated us all at Memorial Day weekend, Cornell, you have Rob Cole going out there to Stanford, and then Mike Gray is elevated to head coach. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think just hearing like Yanni and Vito and some of those Cornell guys, even Kyle Dake, they say Gray is the guy for the job. So I think they definitely got the right guy there. I found it interesting because I was just doing a little bit of research, reading Mike Gray's bio, and every person he replaced went on to get a head job somewhere else. I was looking at it. He became a volunteer in 2011 after Azevedo left, my former coach at Drexel. He became second assistant after Jeremy Spates left. He went to SIUE, and then he became the first assistant after Damian Hahn left. He went to South Dakota State, and then he became the associate head coach and now the head coach. So it's just cool how he kind of really worked his way up the ladder at every time someone left, he filled in. So I just think Cornell loves him. The wrestlers love him. And you could see like the results they've had at those overweights, 9 NCAA champs when he started, 31 All-Americans, 31 EIWA champs. Cornell was 6-time EIWA champs in the 9 or 10 years he's been there, 6 top 10 NCAA finishes, so Cornell's always been good, and he plays a large role in that. The lightweights, like I said, Dake, Yanni, Vito recently, Chaz Tucker, Nashawn Garrett, just name a few of those guys that he really kind of helped those guys elevate up to the next level. And, I just think he's the right guy. Still looking for an assistant. We'll go back to him. We'll go back to that then. But, I just think Mike Gray, even as a wrestler, 2-time EIWA champ, 2-time All-American, he really knows what he's doing here. And, people in EIWA love him. They think he's a good guy. He's a guy for the Cornell job for sure.
Yeah. And then New Jersey legend, first 4-time state champion, you know,
Yeah.
like you in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, that type of stuff carries weight, maybe more so than other places. So, I know he has to have a good name within the New Jersey wrestling community, as well as, outside of it. But, that's going to be important for recruiting. And,
Yeah, definitely.
he's a guy that American came open, before we saw Cole and Borelli switch. I thought, wow, that may be a good job for Gray. So he's one I've heard for years, his name mentioned for some of these EIWA jobs. And it's good
Hmm.
to see him get his shot and get it at a great program.
Yeah, even before him, like Damian Hahn, he was always a guy that was thrown around as there's an opening,
Yeah.
a head coach opening, and Damian Hahn was always the top of the list, and finally he took one, and that's how Gray got the assistant job there, like I said. But yeah, I'm excited to see him at the helm there.
All right. And something I know you were very excited about yesterday. Sacred Heart actually put out their schedule. We're in mid-June, and they've got some interesting dates on there.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Coach Clark there at Sacred Heart. I've never seen a tentative schedule released this early in the year. We're 5 months out from the season, and he's getting it out there, getting the people excited. I wish more schools would do that. I understand why, because it's not fully done yet, and with COVID being how it is, it's kind of a weird year. But yeah, they got Penn State on their schedule. That's might be ugly for them, but they're getting their name out there, and they're up for the challenge. That's cool to see. You also have Journeyman Classic in the middle of November, and then the Keystone Classic right before Thanksgiving there. So those are two tough tournaments that their guys are. Few guys might take some licks, few guys might win there, but that's all part of growing as a team. And pretty much what he said in his tweet, they want to grow together, and no better way to do that than wrestling Penn State and then the Keystone Classic and Journeyman Classic. So it's, I think, good job on his part getting people excited. And I'm excited to see them. I think people kind of almost forget about Sacred Heart, because they're usually, in the lower tier, but, they got some good guys. They got a national qualifier last year at 157. So I think they're coming back on the rise again. I think, this is all part of it, getting people out there and, getting their brand out there and getting those guys out there to wrestle, wrestling the best guys in the country, get ready for the NCAA tournament. Good stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, Coach Clark, as you said, Sacred Heart was a program that's been overlooked, for a long time based on their results. And he's one that's really, I think, taken to social media, taken to other avenues, and really promoted that program and got it kind of in the consciousness of people. So, hats off to him. Hope other coaches, kind of follow that lead.
Yeah, and they just started up a women's program too, from what
Yep.
I remember. Yeah, so that's I think they're the first EIWA school to have an official team. I know there's a bunch of club teams out there with the universities, but yeah, so Sacred Heart doing good stuff up there with the women's program as well.
All right, Austin, have we checked everything off your list? Do you have anything else you want to hit this time around?
I mean, we have a new volunteer assistant at Army. I was excited for this one too. Jesse Delavecchia from Ryder, 2001 national runner-up, decided to not stay and use his extra year, wanted to get into coaching right away. So he's signed as the Army volunteer assistant. I was talking to Coach Ward a little bit and very excited about getting Jesse in there. Great top wrestler. He's been around the block. He was a qualifier last year, like I said, runner-up this past year. So, he's definitely got he's got a good guy there in Jesse. I think Army, again, is one of those teams that's on the rise. I think they'll be top 3 this year. If not, they'll definitely be top 4, top 5. But I know a few years ago they had 10 guys placed at the conference tournament, which a lot of teams didn't even do, so that's impressive in itself. But yeah, I love what Coach Ward's doing up there. You saw my last article about the B Hall radio podcast, just great at thinking outside the box, how to keep different alumni involved and stuff. And yeah, I like Army. I love the hire with Jesse. I think they're going to be somebody to reckon with this year for sure.
And there are a couple other vacancies that we know about that I know you're tracking. Just let us know what some of those are, because I'm sure at some point we're going to be talking about who they fill.
Yeah, I mean, most obvious one we talked about before was the Cornell assistant job. If I had to rank them, I'd say this is probably the best opportunity, depending on who fits in there. Right now, the only assistant they have on staff is Kyle Dake, and he's listed as a volunteer assistant. So there might be room for 2 assistants coming in. I actually heard Yanni on the Bosch Mania podcast. I listened to that today. Apparently they have 2 or 3 guys slated in or narrowed it down to 2 or 3 guys. He didn't release the names, obviously, which is fine. But so we should know probably soon, within the next few weeks here, on who those assistants are going to be. And all these openings, I kind of have, dream candidates, pie in the sky, if you're a Cornell alum, pay this man as much as you can get to get him here. My guys would be definitely Kyle Dake would be a great assistant. There's rumors of him leaving Cornell after Tokyo, but I'm not sure if that's just hearsay or not. I don't know about that, but he would be a great candidate. Also, Yanni, if he was a little older, I think he'd fit right in there and follow, Coach Gray's footsteps and be like the assistant guy there. Will definitely work his way up because obviously great feel for wrestling, loves the sport. I heard he's really good at technique camps and stuff too. So obviously knows all that stuff. Just other names that would be, great, probably more fantasy than realistic though, is Jordan Lean. Cornell's his alma mater, but right now he's the associate head coach at Pitt. Pitt is on the rise now, so I don't see him leaving anytime soon. The other name I had here, Gabe Dean, would have been a perfect candidate, but he just left. He took a job in Michigan. I believe he's a middle school coach now, which is hard to imagine, being that good and being a middle school coach. But yeah, I just think someone in the upper to middleweight would be ideal for this position. Like I said, Coach Gray, so much success in the lower weights. So you need someone to fill in the, those upper weights and, middle weights there as well.
Yeah, that would make sense. And just kind of quick hitters on the other openings.
Yeah, real quick, I got the Lehigh assistant coach. I think this is a good position as well. Right now, Pat Santoro is the head coach, Brad Dillon, the associate head coach, and then Zach Ray is the first assistant. Kind of talking to, I know Darian Cruz some way back a little bit, so I talked to him. It's most likely going to be him being that second volunteer position and also be the RTC athlete there. So he's kind of going to double dip. That's what he did this past year, just filling in for Coach Hughes when he left. I think Cruz would be the best candidate for this job, being from the Lehigh Valley. He's a local guy. He's born and raised in Bethlehem, still lives there now. Another dream candidate I had would be Jordan Oliver. Grew up in the Lehigh Valley, obviously, from Willie's hometown of Easton, Pennsylvania. But he just went to New York Regional Training Center, so I think that's out of the question, but that would just be a guy I would love to see back in the Valley doing things for Lehigh. I know they were recruiting him hard, obviously, in high school because he's from the area, but never panned out, went to Oklahoma State, obviously. I think he would be a good guy there, and, I think anyone local for that job would be great as well, just to help, keep those PA guys there, get some pull guys from New Jersey, wherever else they can. Lehigh is traditionally a great program, usually top 2 in the EIWA, top 10 in the country usually. And, I think that's a good job to have. And my other one here I have is the Penn assistant coach. Right now we have Roger Reyna as the head coach, Brian Pearsall as the associate head coach. I think a middleweight would be ideal here. Chase Pammy, who was 157 in college, and May Bethea were the 2 previous guys here. They have the PRTC, the Pennsylvania Regional Training Center there, and they kind of split time with Penn and Drexel. So I think freestyle experience would be great for the candidate here. My 2 dream candidates here would be one would be Jordan Burroughs. I think he is coming to PRTC next year, but I think he wants to keep wrestling. So maybe he'll do the part-time coaching thing. We'll see. I think that would be an awesome candidate. I think that would help recruiting tremendously. And, he's from the area, which is why he's moving back, which is always a plus. Another dream candidate I had would be James Green. Again, another local guy from right outside Philly, New Jersey there. I think he's at Southeast Regional Training Center now, so I don't think he's going to, be moving anytime soon. He kind of just got there, but you never know. I think that'd just be another good dream candidate guy there. I think Philly is the best wrestling city right now to be in. I'm a little biased. I went to Drexel, but, they got Penn there. They got Drexel. They got the PRTC, and, just the love for the sport in the city is growing, and it's becoming obvious there. It's a really cool place to be. And lastly, we just kind of heard about the Brown volunteer assistant. I don't know much about that one, but I got to get with Coach Beckerman up there and see, if he's looking at anyone, but I could probably keep you updated on that one once I dig a little more and do a little research here.
All righty. Well, we are scheduled to talk with you a little bit later this month, so maybe we'll have more information about that or some of these other coaching vacancies being filled. Before then, I know anybody can check you out on Intermat. Where can they find you on social media?
Twitter handle, Austin Sommer. It's AUSTIN, last name Sommer, SOMMER. Pretty active on there now, especially the EIWA, 16 teams now. So a lot of teams to keep up with, a lot of action going on. I'm on Facebook and Instagram too. I don't really do much there, but yeah, I have it. So mostly on Twitter is where I'm at. You can find me on there if you need it.
Yeah. And in these videos talking, it's not total foreign concept to you. You kind of alluded to it at the beginning. You have experience broadcasting, and you actually have an event coming up that we can hear you on about a week and a half from now.
Yeah, I think it's not this Sunday, the next coming Sunday. I'm doing some broadcasting with PA Power Wrestling at the National Freestyle Duels. Honestly, I'm probably bad at promoting it, but I don't know where it's at. It might be Rockfin, and I don't know where it's at. It might be I don't know where it's on, so I'll keep you updated on that too. That's my bad.
All right. Well, we will look out for that, and we'll follow you on Twitter and look forward to talking to you again. Thanks, Austin.
Awesome, man. Appreciate it. Thanks.